Hello, everyone, and welcome to our case discussion about an unknown unconscious person found on a couch. So we've been dispatched, it looks like, for a 53-year-old male. Dispatch says out of work, depressed recently because of a divorce. A friend was checking on him and found him supine on the couch. There was a suicide note and a blister pack of pills. Looks like there's a whole bunch missing. And the friend couldn't wake him up, so became quite worried and called us. The house is quite a mess, lots of empty beer and rum bottles. So I'm sure as we'd approach, we'd all be thinking about things like hazards and do we need to call local police to attend with us. So we'll assume that our scene is safe and we're going in. Nothing else we pick up on the way in. No real signs of trauma or anything like that. And this is what we see. This is what we're greeted with. So the patient is lying on the couch more or less in this position. And I know, again, thinking of hazards, if you're like me, a lot of us might be thinking, what's under that blanket? Are there, could there be weapons or anything like that? So we'd be very, very careful as to how we approach this, probably calling out to the patient on the way over. And we'll say that today we're not getting anything back from him when we yell at him as loud as we can. And just looking around the house, this is kind of what things look like. The kitchen looks a mess. Looks like perhaps this gentleman has not been taking care of himself as well as he should be for some time. Although for some of you, I'm sure this is kind of what the kitchen looks like. Let's be honest. Anyhow, we're going to carry on with our patient today. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon when you arrive. Patient looks, you estimate, around 80 kilos. And we find no obvious evidence of trauma or history of trauma. We find that the patient sort of responds to pain by groaning. We lift up the blanket and he groans a bit. His skin looks quite blue though, and he doesn't open his eyes. His airway is open, but there's definitely some gurgling there. And he was actually, it looked like he was sort of semi-prone on the couch. Probably a good position to suction him in and even keep him in if his respirations were adequate. But I think, we count our respirations, find them around 6 a minute. So I think most of us would say probably not adequate. And in fact, hopefully all of us say that. And we need to get this patient supine and start ventilating him with an OPA if he would accept it. Probably some of you are already way ahead thinking about, not that that's a bad thing, thinking about advanced airways and stuff. But for now, that good old fashioned BLS, the crap out of him, let's go with that. So the pulse we get is absent at the radial or very, very weak. Around about 45 beats a minute and regular, but your partner says, there's periods of regularity and then it feels irregular, so it's kind of back and forth. So these are sort of the culprits we think. These are the only pills we find at the scene. And, in calculating when the pills were originally obtained and how many are missing, you estimate there's 15 missing. Although there's certainly no way to be absolutely sure about that. So in carrying on, and I'm sure by this time you are well ahead of me and you are saying, hey partner, I know one of my partners is bagging, but heck, I want an IV, I want an ample history for, as best you can from the bystander and probably search the house and all those sorts of things and a complete set of vital signs here. So we do, while we're waiting for all that, we do a complete and thorough physical, head to toe, listening to chest, checking abdomen, and we find nothing unusual at all. So here's a look at looks like the first piece of vital signs we get back, and you're welcome to pause the video here and have a look at it. I'm sorry it's cut off at that one end, but you do get a sense with that rhythm strip at the bottom of what's going on. So you can pause it here and look at it. And but I'm going to carry on to ample right now. So our ample is kind of boring. There are no known allergies as far as his friend knows. And again, says the patient was taking no pills, no medications that he knows of. So he doesn't know where he got these things that he might have taken. There's definitely a history of depression over the last few months as related to a divorce. Last date is unknown. So we have no idea about that, and events are kind of as described. So let's pull up some vital signs here and see where we're at with that. Okay, so not the best set of vital signs I have ever seen in my life. And again, you're welcome to pause here and get a look at the rhythm strip. This is kind of what we're presented with. SpO2, as you might imagine, now that your partner has got some two-person bagging going on, is starting to improve. End-tidal CO2, you can see was quite quite high originally, probably because of that low respiratory rate. And again, thanks to your partner's stellar work, it looks like it might be improving or starting to improve at this point. Blood pressure, let us get a fresh blood pressure here. Let's see what's going on here. I know the other vital signs you'll be quite interested in. Your partner is, I hope you're interested in, is your partner getting a BGL? So we can say that the BGL at this point is 5.6. So I think no real concerns at this moment about hypoglycemia. And yeah, so we'll carry on with that. IV has been established, a large bore IV, 18 gauge in the right antecubital. And I guess where we're at here now then is just figuring out what do we do next. Thanks very much for watching.